Hello everyone and welcome to Story Time. My name is Veronica and today I'm going to be reading you books about mothers because Mother's Day is coming soon. These are fun books for all the time. And so our first book is going to be about Little Cottontail. And this book is written by Carl Memling with pictures by Lillian Obligado. Once there was a little cottontail rabbit who lived in a cozy nest. "Mother," said the little cottontail, "when will I grow up?" "Soon," said his mother. That looks like a really nice nest. Doesn't it? Looks cozy, warm. "But first, little cottontail, you must leave the nest." "Leave the nest?" he said. His little round nest was just the right size. It was soft and warm, with a bed made of grass and tufts of fur. It was a nice nest. A mother and a father robin peered down at him. Their babies were still too young to leave the nest. They wondered what little Cottontail would do. With a flop and a hop and a hump and a bump, little Cottontail left the nest. "Now am I grown up?" he asked. His mother smiled. "Not yet," she said. "First, little Cottontail, you must learn to wash yourself." "Please teach me," he said. "Watch closely," said the mother. A porcupine sitting on a hollow log watched closely too. "This is the way you wash yourself early in the morning. Shake your feet, one at a time. Then lick them clean, one at a time. Scrub your face with your little front paws. Scratch your ears with your big hind paws. Then fluff all your fur up and lick it clean, and you'll be bright and shining early in the morning." "I can do all that," said little Cottontail. And he did. "Didn't he do that very well?" a deer mouse whispered to her tiny children. "Now am I all grown up?" asked little Cottontail. "Not yet," said his mother. Look at those cute little deer mouse. "First, little Cottontail, you must learn what big rabbits eat. Out in the meadow all summer long, they eat grass and herbs and lots of green plants. Over by the farmhouse all summer long, they eat carrots and cabbage and nice fresh fruit." All those nice green things they're eating. "All through the winter, white with snow, they eat buds and twigs and the bark of trees. These are things that big rabbits eat whenever they are hungry." Little Cottontail said, "I listened closely and I think I know them." And he did. "Now am I grown up?" asked little Cottontail. "Not yet," hissed a woodchuck popping up from his burrow. "First, you must learn about foxes." "What about foxes?" said little Cottontail. "Foxes like to chase rabbits," said his mother. "They like to catch them for dinner. You must learn how to tell that a fox is coming. Please, little Cottontail, watch very closely. This is the way you twitch your nose. Sniff, 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 to sniff the air for the smell of a fox. And this is the way you cock your ears and raise your head and glance about to see if that bad fox is coming near. And if the fox comes, this is the way you lay back your ears and bound away. This is the way you hop, hop, hop as fast as you can before the fox can catch you. You dodge and you twist and you take shortcuts. You zigzag and circle and double back on your tracks. You lead the fox to a briar patch. You do a quick, quick stop there and hop to the side. You freeze like a statue and the fox runs by. And all that fox ever does catch is a paw full of thorns in the briar patch." A briar patch is like big, has so lots of vines and this thick patch of vines, and they have nasty thorns that will make you bleed. That's so much to learn, said little Cottontail, though I did listen closely. Now, let me see what came first. Do you remember what came first? Let's see if little Cottontail does. Oh, yes. First, I must twitch my nose. So little Cottontail twitched his nose to sniff the air for the smell of a fox. Then he cocked his ears, and he glanced about. Do you see that? What do you think that is? Mother! Cried little Cottontail. A fox is coming! Into the hollow log sprang the porcupine. The deer mouse scampered off swiftly with her tiny children. Down popped the woodchuck into his burrow, and "Chee, chee!" cried the robin as he flew away. Little Cottontail and his mother laid back their ears and bounded away, and the fox chased after them. Oh dear, thought the mother. What if little Cottontail doesn't remember all I told him? Look at the big fox and little Cottontail and his mother. What's going to happen? But little Cottontail zigzagged and circled and doubled back on his tracks. And then he came to a quick stop and hopped to the side. He froze like a statue, and the fox ran by, straight into the thorns of a briar patch. Mother, said the Cottontail, gasping for breath, now am I grown up? Yes, said his mother. Now you are grown up. Big Cottontail. So there's Big Cottontail and his mother. And look at that fox with all the thorns he caught. He doesn't look very happy, does he? But Cottontail and his mother are happy. All right. Now I have another book for you, which is really fun too. And it's called Are You My Mother? And it's by P.D. Eastman. A mother bird sat on her egg. The egg jumped. Oh, said the mother bird. My baby will be here. He will want to eat. I must get something for my baby bird to eat, she said. I will be back. So away she went. There she's flying away from her tree in her little egg to get food. The egg jumped. It jumped and jumped and jumped. Out came the baby bird. Where is my mother? He said. He looked for her. He looked up. He did not see her. He looked down. He did not see her. I will go and look for her, he said. So away he went. There he's going off. Down out of the tree he went. Down, down, down. It was a long way down. He fell out because he couldn't fly. The baby bird could not fly. He could not fly, but he could walk. Now I will go and find my mother, he said. He did not know what his mother looked like. He went right by her. He did not see her. So look, here is the little bird. He's going on this side of the rock. And here's the mother bird. She's got a nice, juicy worm for the baby bird to eat. Did you know that birds really like worms? I don't like worms for eating. But for birds, juicy worms are just like treats. And everybody, I think, likes treats. He came to a kitten. Are you my mother? He said to the kitten. The kitten just looked and looked. It did not say a thing. The kitten was not his mother, so he went on. Then he came to a hen. Are you my mother? He said to the hen. No, said the hen. The kitten was not his mother. The hen was not his mother. So the baby bird went on. I have to find my mother, he said. But where? Where is she? Where could she be? Oh, look, what's the bird coming to next? What do you think that looks like? Then he came to a dog. Are you my mother? He said to the dog.
I am not your mother. I am a dog, said the dog.
The kitten was not his mother. The hen was not his mother. The dog was not his mother. So the baby bird went on. Now he came to a cow. Are you my mother? He said to the cow.
How could I be your mother? Said the cow. I am a cow.
The kitten and the hen were not his mother. The dog and the cow were not his mother. Did he have a mother? I did have a mother, said the baby bird. I know I did. I have to find her. I will. I will. Now the baby bird did not walk. He ran. Then he saw a car. Could that old thing be his mother? No, it could not. The baby bird did not stop. He ran on and on. Now he looked way, way down. He saw a boat. There she is, said the baby bird. He called to the boat, but the boat did not stop. The boat went on. He looked way, way up. He saw a big plane. Here I am, mother, he called out. But the plane did not stop. The plane went on. Just then, the baby bird saw a big thing. This must be his mother. There she is, he said. There is my mother. Do you think that looks like his mother? I don't think that's his mother. He ran right up to it. Mother, mother, here I am, mother, he said to the big thing. But the big thing just said, Snort! Oh, you are not my mother, said the baby. You are a snort. I have to get out of here. But the baby bird could not get away. The snort went up. It went way, way up. And up, up, up went the baby bird. Look at that big snort taking the baby bird up. But now, where was the snort going? Oh, 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 what is this snort going to do to me? Get me out of here! Just then, the snort came to a stop. Where am I? Said the baby bird. I want to go home. I want my mother. Then something happened. The snort put that baby bird right back in the tree. The baby bird was home. Look, the snort was being really nice and taking the baby bird back to his nest. Just then, the mother bird came back to the tree. Do you know who I am? She said to her baby. Yes, I know who you are, said the baby bird. You are not a kitten. You are not a hen. You are not a dog. You are not a cow. You are not a boat or a plane or a snort. You are a bird, and you are my mother. And there's the baby bird and his mother all safe up on the tree. He's all full from that nice juicy worm she brought him. All right, now I'm going to read you another book called Horton Hatches the Egg by Dr. Seuss. Sighed Maisie, a lazy bird hatching an egg. I'm tired and I'm bored and I've kinks in my leg from just sitting here day after day. It's work. How I hate it. I'd much rather play. I'd take a vacation, fly off for a rest. If I could find someone to stay on my nest. If I could find someone, I'd fly away free. There's Maisie Bird on her egg. Then Horton, the elephant, passed by her tree. "Hello," called the lazy bird, smiling her best. "You've nothing to do, and I do need a rest. Would you like to sit on the egg in my nest?" The elephant laughed. "Why, of all silly things,
I haven't feathers, and I haven't wings. Me on your egg? Why, that doesn't make sense. Your egg is so small, ma'am, and I'm so immense." Immense means that he's really big. See, look how big Horton is and how teeny the egg is.
"Tut, tut," answered Maisie. "I know you're not small, but I'm sure you can do it. No trouble at all. Just sit on it softly. You're gentle and kind. Come be a good fellow. I know you won't mind."
"I can't," said the elephant.
"Please," begged the bird. "I won't be gone long, sir. I give you my word. I'll hurry right back. Why, I'll never be missed."
"Very well," said the elephant. "Since you insist. You want a vacation. Go fly off and take it. I'll sit on your egg and I'll try not to break it. I'll stay and be faithful. I mean what I say."
"Toodaloo!" sang up Maisie and fluttered away. Well, she's just going. She didn't wait for long. She's just going. She's out of there. Do you think she'll come back?
I don't know. The first thing to do, murmured Horton. Let's see. The first thing to do is to prop up this tree and make it much stronger. That has to be done before I get on. I must weigh a ton.
A ton is like 2,000 pounds.
Then carefully,
tenderly, gently he crept up the trunk to the nest where the little egg slept. Then Horton the elephant smiled. Now that's that. And he sat, and he sat, and he sat, and he sat. He sat all that day and kept the egg warm, and he sat all that night through a terrible storm. It poured and it lightened, it thundered, it rumbled.
"This isn't much fun," the poor elephant grumbled. "I wish she'd come back because I'm cold and I'm wet. I hope that Maisie bird doesn't forget. Look at that terrible storm he's in. Faithfully, Horton is being so kind by sitting on that egg."
But Maisie, by this time, was far beyond reach, enjoying the sunshine way off in Palm Beach, and having such fun, such a wonderful rest, decided she'd never go back to her nest. That's her job. She's supposed to be taking care of the egg. It's a good thing Horton's there to take care of it. So Horton kept sitting there day after day, and soon it was autumn. The leaves blew away. And then came the winter, the snow and the sleet, and icicles hung from his trunk and his feet. He looks cold. But Horton kept sitting and said with a sneeze,
"I'll stay on this egg, and I won't let it freeze. I meant what I said, and I said what I meant. An elephant's faithful 100%.
He's kind of cold. So poor Horton sat there the whole winter through, and then came the springtime with troubles anew. His friends gathered round, and they shouted with glee, "Look, Horton the elephant's up in a tree!" They taunted, they teased him. They yelled, "How absurd! But old Horton the elephant thinks he's a bird!" They aren't being very nice to poor Horton, are they? They laughed and they laughed Then they all ran away, and Horton was lonely. He wanted to play. But he sat on the egg and continued to say,
I meant what I said, and I said what I meant. An elephant's faithful, 100%. No matter what happens, this egg must be tended. But poor Horton's troubles were far, far from ended. For while Horton sat there, so faithful, so kind, 3 hunters came sneaking up softly behind. Look at them. What's going to happen? He heard the men's footsteps. He turned with a start. 3 rifles were aiming right straight at his heart. Did he run? He did not. Horton stayed on that nest. He held his head high and he threw out his chest, and he looked at the hunters as much as to say, shoot if you must, but I won't run away. I meant what I said, and I said what I meant. An elephant's faithful 100%. Horton is so brave. But the men didn't shoot, much to Horton's surprise. They dropped their 3 guns, and they stared with wide eyes. Look, they all shouted, can such a thing be? An elephant sitting on top of a tree. It's strange. It's amazing. It's wonderful. New. Don't shoot him. We'll catch him. That's just what we'll do. Let's take him alive. Why, he's terribly funny. We'll take him back home. We'll sell him back home to a circus for money. And the first thing he knew, they had built a big wagon with ropes on the front for the pullers to drag on. They dug up his tree and they put it inside, with Horton so sad that he practically cried. We're off, the men shouted, and off they all went, with Horton unhappy, 100%. Look, he's on his little nest on the tree inside the wagon being taken off, way away. Up, out of the jungle, up into the sky, up over the mountains 10,000 feet high, then down, down the mountains, and down to the sea went the cart with the elephant, egg, nest, and tree. Look, all the big mountains are going up, and then they're going to go down. What's that down there? What does it look like? Then out of the wagon and onto a ship, out over the ocean, and ooh, what a trip! Rolling and tossing and splashed with the spray, and Horton said day after day after day, I meant what I said, and I said what I meant, but oh, I am seasick, 100%. Seasick. That means you're going up and down on the waves so much that your stomach doesn't feel good at all. That's what's seasick. That's nasty. After bobbing around for 2 weeks like a cork, they landed at last in the town of New York. All ashore, the men shouted, and down with a lurch went Horton the elephant, still on his perch, tied to a board that could just scarcely hold him. Bump! Horton landed, and then the men sold him. So here's Horton coming down off the ship, and they're selling him to this guy. Sold to a circus. Then week after week, they showed him to people at 10 cents a peek. They took him to Boston, to Kalamazoo, Chicago, Weehawken, and Washington too, to Dayton, Ohio, St. Paul, Minnesota, to Wichita, Kansas, to Drake, North Dakota. And everywhere thousands of folks flocked to see and laugh at the elephant up in a tree. Poor Horton grew sadder the farther he went,
But he said as he sat in the hot, noisy tent, "I meant what I said, and I said what I meant. An elephant's faithful, 100%. Then one day, the circus show happened to reach a town way down south, not so far from Palm Beach. And dawdling along way up in the sky, who of all people should chance to fly by but that old good-for-nothing bird, Runaway Maisie, still on vacation and still just as lazy. And spying the flags in the tents just below, she sang out, 'What fun! Why, I'll go to the show!' And she swooped from the clouds through an open tent door. 'Good gracious!' gasped Maisie. 'I've seen you before!' Poor Horton looked up with his face white as chalk. He started to speak, but before he could talk, there rang out the noisiest, earth-splitting squeaks from the egg that he'd sat on for 51 weeks. 51 weeks is almost a whole year. Horton's been sitting and taking care of this egg for a long time, hasn't he? A thumping, a bumping, a wild, alive scratching. 'My egg!' shouted Horton. 'My egg? Why, it's hatching!' That means that whatever's inside is going to come out. It's so exciting. 'But it's mine!' screamed the bird when she heard the egg crack. The work was all done. Now she wanted it back. 'It's my egg!' she sputtered. 'You stole it from me! Get off of my nest and get out of my tree!' Poor Horton backed down with a sad, heavy heart. But at that very instant, the egg burst apart, and out of the pieces of red and white shell, from the egg that he sat on so long and so well, Horton the elephant saw something whiz. It had ears and a tail and a trunk just like his. And the people came shouting, 'What's all this about?' They looked and they stared with their eyes popping out. Then they cheered and they cheered and they cheered more and more. They'd never seen anything like it before. 'My goodness, my gracious,' they shouted. 'My word! It's something brand new. It's an elephant bird.' And it should be. It should be. It should be like that. Because Horton was faithful. He sat and he sat. He meant what he said, and he said what he meant. Look at how happy Horton and the baby elephant bird are to see each other. There's Maisie over sulking in the corner. And they sent him home happy, 100%. So Horton and the baby elephant bird get to go back home with all their friends, and they get to play together now. All right, well, that was a fun story, but we're kind of running out of time, but I just wanted to mention a couple books that are still fun. In case you get time, you can read Blueberries for Sal by Robert Mccloskey. That's a really fun about little Sal and her mother and a bear and his mother, and they all go and eat blueberries on the hill. It's really fun. And this is called Angel in the Waters, and it's about a little baby in the womb and talks to his angels, and it grows, and it's really fun because we were all like little like this once too. That's all we have time for today, but you have a good day. We'll see you soon. Bye.